Hey, welcome back everyone. It is time for another red hot covered call video. I am absolutely jacked. Haven't been behind the mic in a week. I'll tell you what, this is the greatest moment of our life. If you haven't been to my channel, what you need to understand is I talk covered call writing, cash secure put selling. We sell the risk to somebody else while knocking down the profit. And I show you how to do that. I tell you my stories. I show you my trades. We talk about them, so maybe you learn something. I show you the money I make to motivate you, to show you that you can make life-changing money. Hey, look, all I'm here to do is try to up your game. And quite frankly, pay it forward. Pay it forward for my mentor, Jerry, who for the past 3 years has been patient with me, answering my questions, letting me learn, and then I got my experience. And I'll tell you what, ever since I started using the covered call strategy and cash secure put strategy, man, I have been having successful trade after successful trade. Now look, I am not going to sell you anything, and I'm sure in hell not some guru. Look, what I do is show you my trades, we talk about them, so maybe you learn something, because I come from the old school. If somebody shows me a couple times, I get it, right? I've read all the books, and I've listened to all the DVDs. The reality is you have to do it. So I encourage everybody at the channel to do that. Now look, let's go ahead and get to this. We got a lot to talk about. I'm going to show you my mid-year result. You know, with a goal of $55,000 out there, I absolutely have to be on my game. And I'll tell you what, for the first 6 months, it has been an awesome time. And here's the deal. We've had a phenomenal rally from January into May. Then the markets peeled off, and then they rallied back to all-time highs. This market is awesome for selling premium. And I'll tell you what, for all you naysayers that say, look, when you write these covered calls and cash secure puts, you absolutely give up your upside. You can take the risk of owning one of the high flyers from 100 to 200. But what I found is most of them find their way back to 100. And along the way, I've been picking up fat premiums doing what we do. So what I'm going to tell you is learn the selling premium strategy. Watch my videos. Subscribe to the channel. Now look, before we get going, I have a lot of things I want to talk to you about, and we have to get to them pretty quick here. If you like what you're hearing at the channel, I want you to subscribe to the channel. It's right there, and it's free. And hey, look, if you like this video today, bang that like button. It lets me know you like what I'm doing. Now look, let's go ahead and get to this. We're going to talk about my mid-year numbers, and then I'm going to show you a trade. For all you salty dog covered call writers, you're going to like this one because I used the Tqqs in a recent market sell-off using that directional trade. But we're not going to talk about the trade so much. We're going to talk about how I managed the trade, because the Tqqs went from 51x to 62x, and man, I got so much time left on this contract, I decided to buy this option back. We're going to talk about that, and what we're going to do is we're really going to focus on why I bought it back. So for the salty dogs, you're going to get something today. And for you newbies, man, you're going to want to hear this, because this is how we do it. We look to make good decisions, and then once we enter the trades, we look to have success. And success can be a lot of different things, whether it be a trade that goes to expiration and we have our shares taken away, or we buy back the option and we make another great decision, having even more success, pocketing even more money. Now look, let's go ahead and get to that money first, because I know you want to know how I'm doing. Okay, so if you're new to the channel, you may think I'm bragging and boasting right here, but I'm not. What I'm doing is I'm showing you my results. Look, from day one, my very first trade, I've been showing you on my channel the progress I have. And I know a lot of you want to see the money. I know the rah-rahs and motivational speeches sometimes just doesn't get you to act, right? This is a channel of action. We want to get you off the couch and into the game. And look, at the end of the day, a lot of people just get motivated by the idea of making money. So what I do is I show you my results. And if anything, it motivates you to continue your research, continue your education, and you get off the couch and you do it. Because the number one way to have success in any strategy is getting your experience so you can ultimately feel it. And when you feel it, you own it. That's when the learning happens. That's when you become engaged. And I'll tell you what, ever since my very first trade that I did, man, it is the absolute truth. Once you're in a trade, you feel it, you own it, and you want to have more success. So look, I show you my results to motivate you. Now let's talk about those results, because right now I am knocking it down. It's an absolute wonderful feeling when you could be making life-changing money using a very conservative investment strategy. And that's what I do. So if you remember, last year my goal was $50,000, and I was able to achieve that with a December for which I only made $400. Now, there's a reason for that. I absolutely had to pump the brakes because, man, I was going to have a tax bill. I just wasn't motivated, and I'll tell you what, that is $55,000 of covered call and cash secure put premiums with stock appreciation. And I'll tell you, when you can get your game to a point where you're knocking down a second income using this strategy, man, you feel empowered. And I'll tell you, that's exactly how I feel. Now, in 2017, the markets were up 21%, but I knocked down 18%, and it reaffirmed that I can do this and beat the market. Because remember, the traditional stock market gain over the past 100 years has been 8%. If you can beat 8%, you're beating the market. So for me, it's all about trying to beat the market, the strategy. And what I've found, I've been able to do it hand over fist. Now, as you can see, this year, we're only 6 months in. I've already made over $32,000, and I'm up cash on cash 14.5%. And look, at the end of the day, that alone would make somebody happy. Well, we're only halfway through, and I'll tell you right now, I have not done much heavy lifting. I tell you all the time that this is not rocket science. Every single month you can put on pretty much the same trades and knock it down. And that's what I found. Every single month I pretty much put on the same trade, whether it's a 30-day trade with Chevron or a weekly trade with Microsoft or a high volatility trade with one of the 3X ETFs. It is Groundhog Day all over again because I do this every single month. And once you get your game to that point, it's like putting it on automatic. But that doesn't mean we set it and forget it. We always make a good decision, get into a trade, and we manage that trade. Now, looking a little deeper into some of these numbers, you're going to find over the first 6 months, I have a goal of making $2,500 a month. Now, if I make $2,500 a month of retirement, I feel like I could live the good life, I can vacation, pay the bills, and look, maybe even help my grandkids go to college. So for me, $2,500 a month is my goal. Well, looking at this year so far, man, every single month, with the exception of March, I was able to hit that number. Now, if I can meet that $2,500 a month number, I feel good, I feel empowered, I feel like when I get into retirement, I can actually do this. Could you imagine being in retirement, opening up your laptop or sitting in front of your computer while you're on the balcony of your hotel on vacation, generating the monthly income you need in retirement? I'll tell you what, it is absolutely one of those feelings that just motivates me to do this every single month. Man, I absolutely love it. And I'm going to tell you now, I am the biggest advocate for this strategy. And for all you haters out there that constantly remind me that I missed all the upside in Adobe and all this, look, at the end of the day, I pick up crumbs. And when I pick up 1 crumb, 2 crumbs, now we're talking real money. Look, I set my hurdles low so I can have success. I've told you this from the jump. Make $100, make $200, all of a sudden, we're talking about making life-changing money. So look, you can do this. And I'll tell you what, I am living proof. So hopefully for the rest of this year, we can keep on course with a goal of $55,000 in reach. I'll tell you, I am motivated to stay in the game, watch the market, whether it's up or down, and we look to make the next great trade. That's how I look at it. If I have a bad trade, I look to make my next great trade. It really is that simple. Now let's talk about this Tqqq trades. First of all, I want to show you the Dow. One thing that blows my mind is that when the Dow started to sell off in late December, it was literally the first day in January that they turned it around and headed back to all-time high. You know, in December, I'll never forget, Jerry would come to the gym. We would talk about an article for which he read. The apocalypse was happening and everybody's reporting sell, sell, sell. And I told Jerry, look, they're going to sell this off to support, which if you look at the line, they did. And then when the tax selling started and we got the capitulation, we get this extra sell-off right here. Now, I'm on record as saying that the markets would bounce back. And sure enough, that's exactly what they did. And if you remember, that's when I got into UDOW because I was going to play the 3X ETF to rally off of the bottom. And man, adding 3X ETFs to my portfolio have absolutely upped my game. And I love them. And with those profits in the pocket, as the stock market kept going higher, I think I mentioned in a video that it was going to sell off. Because look, Wall Street loves to run it up to support. And if we don't have that catalyst I'm talking about, well, they're going to sell it off. And in fact, computers sell it off. So Wall Street is the smartest person in the room. You have to believe it. And when they started to sell it off in May, we get this nice opportunity to buy back. And the NASDAQ got down some 8%. Well, as I'm sitting there thinking, I think this could rally, of course I wrote a covered call on my UDOW shares, but I decided to pick up some TQ shares. The Tqqq is the 3x levered ETF to the NASDAQ. And I figured during the sell-off, for which they took tons of profit in the technology sector, this was the index that was going to bounce heavy. And sure enough, that's what it did. When the TQs hit some $51, stuck it in, and I wrote a couple cover calls. But the point here is this. We live in a volatile world where I believe they buy them up to sell them off to buy them up. Now, some of you don't believe that, but look, the proof is in the charts. What they do is they run them up to resistance, and if it doesn't break through resistance and stay up there for about 3 trading days, man, the selling starts happening. Now, there is news and uncertainty does come into the market, so it makes it easy for them to start selling, right? But what we find is when we get that nice, juicy sell-off, they come back and they come back hard. So you have to buy into that idea. And you have to do your research. You have to have your list ready. When the NASDAQ was dropping some 8%, I was doing my research. And that's when I found the TQs. And that's when I made the decision to buy it. I didn't do this willy-nilly. I had done my homework. And when I found the opportunity, I took that opportunity and profited from it. Now, looking at a quick chart of the TQs, you can see as we got that nasty sell-off in the NASDAQ, I was looking at the TQs right about here. And I'm thinking, there is your support line. Now, I missed this sell-off, but when it got to 51X and we get this little green bounce, I'm thinking to myself, this is a great opportunity. And that's what I did. 51X, I bought 200 shares of TQs. Now, before you think I'm some crazy, volatile 3X player, you need to understand, I am very disciplined in my 3X ETF discipline. And what I mean by that is I only allocate a small amount for these 3X ETFs, and I look to write the very short-term 30-day trade. And what I found with UDOW is I'll write them and buy them back and write them again. So for me, these 3X ETFs are great for these high volatility plays, but we're playing the directional move of these indexes. Now, when I bought the TQs at 51X, I didn't get greedy. I'm thinking this thing is going to bounce. I want to make my 7 and 8% in a 30-day window. So I write the 53.50 covered call and I get paid $2 for that. So I'm going to get the stock appreciation move plus the premium, and look, I'm out the door. For me, having my shares taken away is a blessing because I don't know where this market goes. It can continue to fall, but right now I'm thinking it's going higher. So what do I do when the TQs rally to 62 in 1 week? So let me set up this trade for you. So this is my TQs trade. When TQs was trading about 51X, I went in and bought 200 shares. And what I did was write the 53.50 covered call, the 30-day covered call, and I got paid $2 for this. So for me, this was a very short trade. We're playing the directional move of the NASDAQ as it goes higher. And sure enough, as the NASDAQ is rallying off of that bottom, it gets to 62. So now I'm sitting here with all this time left in the option. Now I could sit here and let my shares be taken away and I make the money, we move on. But for me, I'm going to go ahead and look at this as an opportunity to buy this option back and possibly buy another stock and write another covered call. See, I have 20 days left in this trade. So for me, if I can make the difference up between the buyback and my option premium, I'm going to go ahead and try to make that in my next covered call. So this is what I did. When the TQs was trading at 62, I got paid $2 for that option. But look at the option price when the stock's at 62. The option price is $8.75. The real money in this option is $8.50. So there's only 25 cents of time value. Do you notice that? My strike is 53.50. The stock's now trading at 62. So the option has at least $8.50 of real money in it. So if the option is priced above $8.50, that is time value. And that is the profit that I'm giving up if I buy this back. So what I did is I opened up my calculators and I started putting in the numbers. I put in where TQ was trading, I put in the option buyback, and I put in what I got paid. And it gives me that difference. And when TQ was bouncing between 10 cents and 20 cents, I'm thinking to myself, I can buy this back and only give back 20 cents of my original $2 in premium and still have 20 days? Look, I can take that money because remember, I'm going to immediately sell my shares. I am not going to add $8.50 to my TQ's cost basis. I'm going to immediately sell the shares, but I'm going to take that money. I'm going to take that 10 grand and I'm going to buy another stock for which I had already researched and dialed up, and I'm going to take this trade off the board. Do you see how this trade is basically dead money for the next 20 days? Sure, I made max profit. I should be happy, which I am. But see, I'm opportunistic in that I'm seeing 20 days of dead money. So what did I do? I went ahead, put in a bid to buy this back at $8.75. I ended up paying a little bit more than I wanted. I paid 25 cents over the real money in the option. So if the option's trading at $8.75 with real money of $8.50, that extra time value, that 25 cents for the next 20 days is what I'm giving up in my original $2 premium. So I looked at that as a no-brainer. I went ahead and bought that option back. Now I have the cash. I bought the new stock. I wrote the new covered call. So it is about managing our trades, using opportunity. But look, at the end of the day, I made max value. So now the question is, if I bought the option back, immediately sold the shares, took the money, bought a new stock, wrote a new covered call, can I make back the 25 cents? And in this case, I sure did. So this was a no-brainer for me. But this goes back to the idea that I'm going to manage my trades using my spreadsheets, using my calculators. I'm not going to sit on my hands, and I'm always going to look to make the next successful trade. Now, I hope you're having success in the stock. If you're sitting on the sidelines and you want to get into the game, what I'm going to tell you is this. Open up that small ball account, watch the free videos, and do your very first trade. Because once you get that experience, it starts to become second nature, and you're able to start processing all of this information so much quicker. And I'm telling you, from a guy just 3 years ago that knew nothing about the cover call strategy to where I'm now trading 600 and 700 trades, I'll tell you, it is an absolute blessing that my mentor Jerry sat down with me, was patient, and I learned the strategy, and I got my experience. And before I let you go, we are doing so much here at the channel, I really need you to subscribe. And look, we're almost going to hit July. I have a brand new newsletter coming out, part 2 of the very basics of setting up your covered call account and trading covered calls. Look, you want to be a part of this channel. I don't ask you for a nickel. All I ask you to do is bang that like button and stay engaged, stay motivated, and always come back for the next red hot covered call video. Hey, look, until next time, I hope all your covered calls are profitable.